My Hero Academia chapter 329 is finally giving us a much needed update from the villain side of everything happening in the current arc of the series. We get a conversation between Spinner and All for One that finally gives us insight into what his plans are, where he thinks One for All falls into this, and how Star and Stripe plays into the overall scheme, along with seeing Star and Stripe potentially having a showdown with Shigaraki in the very next chapter. I have no idea what's going on. This is escalating so much quicker than I thought, and I cannot wait for it. Seeing All for One talking with Spinner, as Spinner's a character that hasn't really gotten much limelight. He's very much there for conversationalist. He's apparently a great conversationalist because he's now taking on the role of All for One's bodyguard and also is having all of All for One's plans just spilled to him. So apparently just having the Tartars break out, distracting the heroes and police for a while is pretty much what his short-term goal was. He wanted to get off the radar and just give time for things to happen, which has now been achieved. His medium-term goal is capturing One for All, which is really interesting to me because I thought that would be his big goal. It is the opposite of his quirk. It has been his #1 rival pretty much since the existence of the quirk started, but it's not as big as Fear. It's not his long-term goal. Obviously, once you have One for All, and my idea that if you have One for All and All for One together, well, great, you're pretty much unstoppable. There's not going to be much more. But he does bring up the idea that Star and Stripe could actually be something that could get in their way. So going after her quirk is also something that is on his medium-term goal, still giving us no insight into what his big overarching scheme is. I mean, I'd assume it's to take over the world. What else would it be? But could it be something with advancing quirks? Could it be something bigger than that? I don't know exactly what he wants, but by having and setting the scale that, hey, Star and Stripe, One for All, these are all medium-term goals, but there's something bigger past that is super exciting to me, and I cannot wait to kind of get into more information on that. But outside of that, we do see Spinner and the remnants of the Meta Liberation Army kind of considering to spread their ideology, using Spinner kind of as a face, especially for any metahumans out there, and just continuing kind of their crusade on the spin of the tail, reminding them as the status of the heteromorph, and just kind of doing more out there. I don't get what the value of this is right now. I feel pretty much everyone is either split on the kind of villain side or the hero side, while even those civilians aren't necessarily on the side of heroes per se. If they're going to go and join the villains, I feel like they would have done so by now. So this continued marketing ploy, I'm not completely understanding what that's going to play into, but I don't feel like Horikoshi would set that up for no reason at all. So I'm very, very interested to see where that goes, and if Spinner is actually going to play a big part in this. He seemed to be questioning All for One a little bit, and he's questioned Shigaraki, the League of Villains, and just kind of their intentions in the past before. So very much like Stain, the one he looks up to the most, who's now kind of flipped sides a little bit over to the heroes. Are we going to see Spinner doing the same exact thing? Or do we see that Spinner is just kind of a medium for continuing the message, getting All for One's plans out there, and more or less this promotional push around him is going to be gone in chapter 2 when we never look back to it again. Outside of that, we get to see Hawks, Vigilantes, and Endeavor just talking a little bit about the arrival of Star and Stripe, and pretty much Hawks being worried that, well, she came so quickly, is she going to be in some kind of trouble? But Breast Genius pretty much assured her that everything's going to be okay, when suddenly they get a call from Naomasa saying that she's arrived, but there's something else in the airspace, which when we go up to the sky, we see Star and Stripe and Shigaraki now face to face. And when Star and Stripe ask Shigaraki if he's the villain called All for One, he responds back, "What exactly am I?" Which, what a bag of worms that is, because now Shigaraki's up and moving. He clearly doesn't need recovery time anymore. I'm assuming he's at his full state now. I'm just going to make that statement. Shigaraki's at his full strength now, with the goal here, I'm assuming, to take Star and Stripe's power. I don't feel like introducing her and making such a big moment of her and All Might's mentorship in the last chapter, and then just next chapter they're going to kill her off. So I feel like it'll be a bigger part than that, but it's still super interesting seeing that already they're just having the face down. Shigaraki's out and moving, and the story is advancing along very quickly. But now we also have the other side of Shigaraki asking exactly what am I, which I feel like is going to open up back that kind of idea of Deku wants to save Shigaraki, which is ultimately going to be one of the big kind of endpoints of this. We've already seen similarities between Deku and Shigaraki, not necessarily in how their upbringings went, but kind of their ideology and similar moments that you can even go and see panels side by side of how they look very similar a lot of the time. So Deku trying to save him after the moment in the war arc where he's saying, I will save you, Shigaraki, is something that worries me when he asks, what exactly am I? Because he's still fighting back against the influence inside of him that I'm assuming is one for all, while still trying to maintain some idea of himself. So Star and Stripe showdown against Shigaraki, going to be phenomenal. I don't know exactly what that's going to. I don't think either character, obviously Shigaraki isn't going to be defeated by Star and Stripe. I don't think Star and Stripe is done in this story yet. So I feel like it might be a very quick moment, maybe almost even a conversation, and then not even a full-fledged fight. But I don't know exactly what's going to happen there, but excited nonetheless. And also Shigaraki being up and moving is scary, but I'm assuming Deku's had a couple of days of rest at this point, and we are going to get into it very, very quickly. That is all I have for chapter 329 of My Hero Academia. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts and the quick kind of review of everything that happened in this chapter. Story is heating up. I cannot wait. I will be back next Sunday with another recap and my thoughts on chapter 330 of My Hero Academia. I'll see you guys then.